Hello lovely people, so firstly I'm coming to you with an apology that I didn't get out a 22-week pregnancy update like I wanted to before we came away, hence why we're in a different location to usual. So I'm actually currently on holiday in Portugal. Steve's just taken Grace down to the supermarket, so it's given me a chance to quickly do an update, and I'm going to do 22 and 23 weeks together. So if you don't know me already, my name's Christie. I'm currently 23 weeks pregnant with my second little girl. My first little girl is 18 months old and she is so looking forward to being a big sister. I don't think she actually completely understands, but she will point at my belly and say baby now, which is really exciting, and we're really looking forward to welcoming this baby into our family at the end of December, kind of early January, TBC. So if you don't follow me already, please do consider subscribing to my channel, because I put out all sorts of pregnancy content. I do a weekly update mostly every week. This is the first week that I've actually missed one, and like mummy content, mummy vlogs, etc, etc. So if that interests you, then please consider subscribing to my channel, and let's get into the 22 and 23 week pregnancy update. I'm also going to get myself ready while I'm filming, two birds with one stone and all of that, because we're going out for dinner tonight. It's actually our last night in Portugal and it's been such a lovely holiday, but it is the first time we've come away with Grace. And it is true what they say about a holiday with a toddler it is a holiday, because it's amazing, like doing all the new experiences with them and stuff, and seeing her in the pool for the first time. Like, she's been swimming before, but like in a proper holiday pool has been amazing and stuff, but it really isn't that much of a holiday. It's not very relaxing, or at least it's just a completely different holiday to what it used to be. Still lovely all the same. But yeah, it's flown by, and we're coming home tomorrow. So tomorrow will actually be 24 weeks. Baby is now the size of an aubergine, and she is about to double in size in the next 4 weeks in terms of weight. So her weight is about to double in the next 4 weeks, which is just incredible to me because I feel enormous already. I actually thought that this would be quite a petite baby in comparison to Grace, who was on the 96th centile at birth and she weighed 9 pounds 6. But I'm now starting to think that she actually won't be as small as I was thinking in my head. Her hair colour is also now changing to what it's going to be at birth. Grace was born with like a full head of dark hair, so I'm just really interested to see how similar they might be. Grace has like dark hair and blue eyes, which I feel like is quite like amazing really, because neither of us have blue eyes. I have green eyes and Steve has brown eyes, and I was definitely expecting her to have brown eyes, to be honest. So the fact that they weren't like brown or green was amazing. So it'd be interesting to see who this baby looks like. Will she look like Grace? Will she look more like one of us? Grace is quite a good mix. So yeah, her hair colour is developing now into what it will be after birth. One of the main things that I need to update you on is the C-section appointment that I had with my consultant, which was at 22 weeks. Is that right? Yes, 22 weeks. And when I gave my last update, it was only a few days away. So it's been over a week now since I had that appointment, and it actually went pretty well. I was going into that appointment assuming that I'd have to really fight for what I wanted, and that was on the basis of some people telling me that they'd really had to like push for the maternal request C-section. But I was really lucky. I spoke to a nice male consultant. It wasn't the consultant that was actually listed on my letter. So I don't know whether he was able to read the letter that I had sent to the consultant about my C-section that I wanted recorded in my notes. But he asked me to tell him a little bit about why I wanted the C-section, and I explained about my delivery with Grace, and specifically kind of the trauma during the actual delivery part, and the postnatal issues that we both experienced. And he spoke to me a little bit about episiotomies and tearing, and he said you're no more likely to have an episiotomy or a tear in this pregnancy, which I've been told before, so that wasn't a complete shock. But to me, like, any risk of that happening again is just unacceptable to me because of the issues that it caused in my recovery in terms of infections and stuff. But the other thing that we spoke about was obviously the infections that occurred in both myself and in Grace were quite severe infections, like at septic level. And he said to me that I should have had a 6-week consultant debrief after the birth, which didn't happen. So I wonder whether they were quite agreeable to me having the C-section this time because they know they've kind of missed part of their protocol last time. I don't know, but or maybe he was just supportive in general, but he was supportive and he spoke me through the risks of C-section, which I knew about anyway because I'd done my research. And he was like, if you're happy with all of that, then there's no reason why you can't have a C-section and we'll support you. And we'll book you in for an appointment at 32 weeks to get the C-section actually booked in. I asked if it was possible that I might go to that appointment and then not have it approved or not receive the same support. And he said, no, it sounds like you've made up your mind. I'm not going to try and change your mind. And that appointment will be purely just to book it in. So I'm hoping that's true and that everything goes ahead as planned. An exciting development this week has been, well, in the last 2 weeks really, has been that the movements that I'm feeling from the baby are a lot more like defined kicks rather than like butterflies or swooshing movements. And especially even in the last like day or so, I've noticed that they've become a lot more prominent to the point where I can see them on the outside. And I managed to get a bit of footage of baby kicking earlier, which is always really exciting to show people like family and stuff, because I always find when I'm like, oh, the baby's kicking and someone feels like they just stop immediately. So that's really nice that I've got that now to show to family, and like Steve can feel a little bit more involved and start to build that bond with her as well. I haven't actually been feeling too uncomfortable in the heat on this holiday. I think it's about 26 degrees every day. It's actually really overcast today, which is our last day, so it's not really a problem. But it has been very hot and sunny all week. And I haven't been that uncomfortable in the heat like I expected to be. Obviously we have use of the pool, and the water here in our pool, and we've also been to a water park one day, isn't heated, so it's actually really quite fresh, where it's cooled down from the last of the real like hot summer. So it's been completely manageable and I haven't felt uncomfortable on holiday. What has been quite uncomfortable though is the like pressure I'm feeling in my bump already. Like I say, like I can feel that the baby's grown quite a lot and is gonna grow quite a bit in the next few weeks, and it feels like I've got quite a bit more pressure than I did even a couple of weeks ago. I did think that she was sat for a little while in like the breech position because the movements and the kicks that I was feeling were so low that they were actually just like kicks into the exit door, if you know what I mean. So I wondered whether she might be sat breech, but today they've been up at the top of my belly again, so obviously she's still able to turn around in there quite easily. And there's nothing to say that she won't be head down by the time the birth comes. Not that that actually will have a huge impact on me with going for the C-section birth, but it's always nice to know where they're positioned so you can map their movements a little bit more. But I'm definitely feeling a lot more uncomfortable, a lot more full, a lot more round. So it'd be interesting to see how I cope with the changes in the next few weeks, especially if she's going to grow a lot. What I've mentioned before, and I've noticed a lot on this holiday probably because I'm wearing more like revealing, like summery clothes, is that my boobs are enormous. They're like so big, and I'm not a very like blessed woman in that area, so it seems really out of place for me. It looks to me like a little bit weird, and I found when I'm putting on clothes that usually I'd wear like no problem, I'm wearing them and thinking, well, actually this is quite revealing, there's a lot of cleavage involved. And I remember saying to Steve, like when we're finished having children and stuff, I might consider actually having a boob job, because like my boobs after I had Grace just deflated so much and sagged quite a bit, and I was like, oh, I'd quite like to have them done. And now I'm thinking I'm not sure I would, because I just feel so uncomfortable with them being so big. I feel like everyone's looking at them and they're just like really in your face. So I don't know if that actually has any bearing on what breastfeeding would be like. I have decided not to breastfeed this baby, so hopefully they do go down quickly and don't cause me too much trouble when my milk does come in. But if size is anything to go by, then if I was breastfeeding, this baby wouldn't be going hungry, if you know what I mean. So my next appointment now will be a 24-week appointment with my midwife, and that's in a couple of days time. So I'm actually 24 weeks tomorrow, and it's the, did I say a couple of days or a couple of weeks? It's in a couple of days time with my midwife, so I'll be 24 plus 1. And I mean, nothing really exciting happens at these appointments. I remember Steve came to all of my antenatal appointments first time round, bless him. He was so like good, he really just like wanted to be involved and stuff. But they don't do a lot more than just like listening to baby and do your blood pressure. I don't think this is the one where they do the additional check for iron. I think that's 28 weeks. But he hasn't come along to any of them this time, because although they're allowing partners back to antenatal appointments in the hospital, my antenatal appointments are actually at my GP surgery, and they're not ready to welcome partners back, I don't believe. But when I go in to give birth, like, he will be allowed into the hospital with me, and my particular hospital has private postnatal room, so he'll be able to stay with me for the duration of the time that we're there, which might be, you know, 24 hours with having the C-section and stuff. So we're really, really lucky in that respect, because I've seen a lot of people say that with having C-sections, their partners are being asked to go home after 2 hours from the delivery ward, and I just don't know how I'd cope with that. Not only physically with the recovery from a C-section, which would obviously be quite difficult in those very, very early hours and days, but also just mentally, I'd want him there for support. So we're very lucky that we have that option with our hospital. Then it's just the countdown really. I can't believe how quickly it's going now. I counted up how many weeks I've got left at work. I'm actually only back 1 day this week because we've got a wedding to go to on Friday. So I've actually only got 13 weeks left at work now before I go off my maternity leave. And obviously I'm 24 weeks tomorrow, and they usually do C-sections at about 39 weeks. So I've only got about 15 weeks left of my pregnancy altogether. Just can't believe how quickly it's gone this time. With Grace, it felt like I was pregnant for an age. I think because as well, I unfortunately had a miscarriage 3 months before I fell pregnant with Grace. So it felt like I was pregnant for the best part of a year really, because I pretty much was. So it's probably a combination of that, not having suffered a loss this time, but also having Grace to run around after, and we're just busy in general, that it means that this pregnancy has gone so quick. So that's it for my 22 and 23 week pregnancy update, all rolled into one. I promise I'll try to be back with a 24 week update, and then on and on and on until the end of my pregnancy. I'll also be uploading a vlog from this holiday, so if you want to see what we got up to in Portugal, then subscribe so that you can see that when that comes out, and otherwise I will see you next time.